Alright, the subject here is, are video games art? Now, this is going around a lot in the internet. Fanboys, gamers got pissed off because he said, Roger Ebert came out and said, video games are not art because they don't have, you can win, he said you can win, and they don't have a start in the beginning. Let me just start off by saying, art has varied definition. A sculpture can be considered art. An action figure, a posable action figure can be considered art. A painting can be considered art. Drawings can be considered art. Things of that nature. We have different types of art forms. So really the term art, just like the word love, is not really defined. It's varied in its definition. Secondly, let me say that I have nothing against the guy. My viewers, I don't listen to critics when it comes to this type of stuff. I don't listen to them when it comes to movies or things of that nature. But he did bring up a valid point. Sometimes critics do bring up valid points, and this is a pretty cool subject, interesting subject. So, are video games considered art? I think video games are very artistic. They do have a storyline in it, and they do have a beginning and an end. The whole purpose of a game like say God of War, the purpose of that is you have a start, and you have a middle, and you have an end, and that pretty much is how the story goes. And a lot of video games use the same kind of cinematography they use in movies. Like when The Matrix came out, there was a bunch of games that were using what they call bullet time. A lot of characters were doing that slow-mo thing in video games. And the same could be said about movies. A lot of movies now are kind of influenced by video games. A lot of video games are much more they're much more interactive. You can actually decide if if the outcome is good or bad. In a movie, you pretty much have a set piece of material in front of you. You put it in, you watch it, start, middle, end. And that's pretty much it. The movie might be terrible, it might be good, it might move you, it might disgust you, but that's pretty much what a movie is. It has a start, middle, and an end. A video game, you can go back and change the course of the characters. You can customize your characters. You can do all type of things in video games that you can't do in movies. Of course, in a movie you can go back and rewind to a scene that you like and say, okay, I didn't notice that before, and something like that. But you're pretty much going to get the same deal. You can't just go in a movie and change the way you can't go, I don't like that scene, let's change it up. You can't do that unless you're editing a video for a certain type of project. Then you can do that. But usually movies are not interactive. The closest thing we've gotten to as far as interacting with a movie is 3D technology, and that's pretty much as far as I see it going. I have to agree with what he said, though, that video games, I think what he was trying to say, Roger Ebert, he was trying to say that video games are not art in a sense that they're not the same as movies. He's obviously a film critic, but he obviously doesn't know a lot about video games. There are different types of video games out there. Japan has that one video game where you can actually paint. The whole purpose of it is to learn how to paint. There's video games that teach you how to, you can make your own beats, DJ beats and stuff like that. Would I consider that artistic? Yes. Is it art? Who knows? So I wouldn't say that video games are art, and I'm not going to say they're not art. I just think that video games, yes, they're artistic, and they can be, in a video game, there's a lot that's involved. You have screenwriters, scripters, you have artists, who draw the characters, and you have background artists who draw the backgrounds, 3D models and stuff like that, and you have music composers for the theme of the video game. Much like a lot goes into a movie, you have a script, you have an actor, you have, depending on the movie, you might have special effects, cinematography and things of that nature, and that goes a lot into a movie. Video games are very expressive also. I think video games are probably the most expressive medium out there, more so than movies, comic books, and other things. Because while it's artistic, it's also moving you emotionally, and you're involved in the story directly. You're in the story. You are the story. Especially in cases like in games like online games. You can choose the character you like, and you can customize it to look how you want it to look. You can make it look just like you, and you can go around doing whatever you want in those type of games. And there's some very artistic things in those type of games. You can, like I said, customize yourself. You can do all types of things. So my final thoughts on this is that video games are very artistic, but are they art? I really can't answer that question, because art doesn't have a set definition. And that's my thoughts on that subject, and I'm going to leave it at that.